Let's jump right in. This is the Leatherman Wave that every other multi-tool is compared to. For starters, it feels really good in the hand. I like it. I will tell you though that the black coating does feel a little bit different than I would have expected. I'm not sure how to explain it, but it is different than I expected. The next thing is it feels smaller in my hand than I thought it would. I figured in all the YouTube videos this thing was huge, the Leatherman Wave was big, and then the Surge was even larger. Well, I don't have big burly lumberjack hands. I just have normal size hands, I think. So that was a surprise when I first got it. Let's jump into all the tools on it. The first thing is the knife, and for some reason it is not easy to open this knife. It's not as easy as I expected it to be, I'll put it that way. When I go to open this knife, much easier. When I go open this knife, it's jerky and tough to do. I think it has to do maybe with the coating or something. Knife is ultra sharp. Let me show you how sharp this really is. I mean, cuts it like it's hot knife through butter. Let's do a shaving test. Oof, that's ridiculously sharp, and now I have a big old bald spot on my arm. That's all right. Love the knife, super sharp. Probably the sharpest knife I've ever gotten out of the box. I want to show you that up and down, there's the slightest movement. I don't even think you can see it on camera. It is just minuscule, but it is there, and I just wanted to point it out. Let's move on to the serrated knife now. Boom, opens so much nicer. Let's go over how sharp it is. I mean, this is serrated, so, oh man, that is ridiculously sharp. Love the idea of the serrated knife, but I'll be honest, I hardly ever use a serrated knife. Now, the saw is a really interesting tool. For starters, I think the saw should have the little finger hole here to flip it open, but it doesn't. You have to use your thumb on the little divot there, right here, to open it, and it's a little annoying. But there it is. I was using it a little yesterday. So that's going through like butter. Take my word for it, this saw is super sharp and aggressive and really will get the job done. The last tool on the outside is the file. Here's a regular standard, from what I understand to be a wood file. Some people have said the bottom here can act as a saw, and a diamond coated file on the back, though I did see somewhere someone saying it's not really a file, but it can be used as a knife sharpener, this side. I will tell you, I ran a fingernail across it, and oh my gosh, it gave me chills. It was like nails on a chalkboard. All right, now let's get to the inside and start with these pliers. This is where my first real big gripe comes in. I can't tell you how much I want to just love this Leatherman Wave, but take a look at this. When I give this a squeeze, you can see the handles coming together. I expect a lot more out of $120 or so Leatherman. This is the iconic multi-tool, and it should be stronger than this. Let me show you. This $50 Leatherman Rev is stronger. I don't want to say that I don't like this, but I'm disappointed at how much movement there is here. Let me grab a couple other tools and show you. These proper needle nose pliers, no movement, none at all. These full-size pliers, no movement, none at all. Leatherman Wave, movement. Last tool. People are gonna say this isn't fair because this is a bigger, heavier duty multi-tool, and that's fine, but it's what I compare it to. And really, almost no movement at all. When I squeeze it, Leatherman Wave, fair amount of movement. I'm just disappointed. It doesn't mean it's a bad tool, it just means I'm disappointed with the strength of this tool. Let's move on to some of the instruments inside. Let's start with the scissors here. I know this is silly, but I just wanted to show you how well they work. No problem. This is some heavier duty cardboard. No problem at all. But when we get our hands on this string, and you can see this isn't very heavy duty, this isn't very thick, it struggles. It'll go through it, but it really struggles. And yesterday, when I squeezed it, it separated the teeth of the scissor, and I thought I had maybe broken it, but today it's doing a really good job, so I don't want to criticize it too much. They are little scissors. I probably shouldn't expect too much out of it. Next thing is the micro screwdriver. This is my least favorite tool on here. I don't think I've ever needed to tighten screws on glasses, and I wish this wasn't on here. I wish there was a better tool on here, or that Leatherman would figure out additional tools to fit in this holder so that it served multi-purposes. I will end up using this as a toothpick, let's be honest. I don't really work on glasses ever, and this will be a toothpick for me. It'll drive my wife nuts. And don't worry, I won't stick the whole multi-tool up to my face. I'll pull this out just to get seeds from a bagel out of my teeth. I understand this is a general multi-tool and it needs to work for everybody, but me personally, this isn't a tool that I'll ever use. Now, this is a hefty screwdriver slash pry bar. I've already used it once or twice and think it is fantastic. It's a little thicker than I would have expected, but to me that just means it'll be a stronger pry bar, and I'm fine with that. My only wish is it was a little longer, but I understand it's hard to fit all the implements inside the handle. Let's move to the other side. So this is the bottle opener slash can opener. This is one of the weaker tools on here, I have to say. I tried to open a bottle with it last night, and let me show you what happens. I can't. It just doesn't grip. I'm not doing anything out of the ordinary. It's just not gripping, and it makes no sense to me, and I don't understand why. There's just not enough distance between the tooth here and the top here or here. I'm not really sure, but it doesn't allow this part to get under the lip of the bottle cap. It's a real problem. I know it sounds silly, and how could this possibly be, but it's true. It just doesn't work well. I'm sure it's a fine can opener, but as a bottle opener, it sucks. And I'm really disappointed because this is such an obvious thing. Something that should have been fixed from the get-go. It should never have come off the factory floor like this. It should never have made it through R&D like this. It just doesn't make any sense to me and should not be. Let's move to the bit exchanger now. This is probably the tool I'll use the most on here. I end up using screwdrivers regularly just in my day-to-day life. I really like this bit exchanger. I think there's so much potential here. I just wish it actually came with another bit here, but let me just tell you, this is a number 1-2 Phillips. I'll show it to you working on some screws, and a 3/16 flathead. I'm going to be polite to Leatherman because I am not positive I'm going to keep this tool, and I'll talk a little more about that. I'm going to swap this out for the exact same bit from my Leatherman Mutt. I just don't want to damage the one that came with the Wave, because there is the chance I'm going to return this. I'll be honest, I'm not super happy with it. All right, as you can see here, there are a handful of screws. What looks like a big number 2 Phillips, some smaller either 1 or 2s. At first glance they look like number 2s, and then some flatheads. I just want to show you how well this works. All right, tighten it in, tighten it in. It's just a champ. It just grips them and goes right in. Flip to the flathead. That one works like a champ. All right. This bit exchanger, again, is probably my very favorite tool on here, and what really makes me want to actually keep it. All right, let's talk a little more about this Leatherman now. For me, a tool like this is what I like to call a lifetime tool, a generational tool, something that I would plan to give to my kids or grandkids. I really want to love this Leatherman Wave, but it just isn't fulfilling every wish that I had for it. It's not as heavy duty as I would have thought. It's not as strong as I would have thought, and maybe that's okay. On a day-to-day basis, I carry a Sig Power Pint, and it usually does the job, but a lot of the time I need something a little bigger and heftier, and I thought this was going to fulfill that role, but based on how much movement there is in the handle, based on a few other things, I'm just not sure. And I keep thinking maybe I should get a Leatherman Surge, but that's huge according to the videos, and the implementations it has on it have their own drawbacks. I don't think this is the perfect tool for me, and I don't know if the Surge is the perfect tool for me, though I really wanted this to be the perfect tool. I thought this was going to be the tool of all tools, and it's just not as great as I thought it was going to be. So I want to leave you with a thought. When I buy these tools, I buy them to use, to abuse, and then to pass on to my kids or grandkids at some point in the future. Thanks for watching my review. Please like and subscribe to help me grow this channel. I really appreciate it.